Following our last couple of videos that we had a few questions in regards to some rule interpretation. So we thought it would be a great opportunity on this platform to answer a few of those questions that you guys have sent on in. So the first one that we have today is in regards to the overhead and basically some clarification around that rule to help you guys out there when we do eventually get back on the pitch. So we're going to break it down a little bit today. First thing we're going to talk about is on the way up. So when the ball's on the way up, the person who's throwing the ball needs to make sure that the opposition and the other players are 5 yards from the ball. This can be quite easy to interpret when it is a free hit because generally most players will be 5 yards at that point in time. It becomes a little bit trickier when it's in a free play situation. However, we do need to understand that it is that person's responsibility to make sure that everyone is safe. So therefore, when they are throwing an overhead, other players need to be 5 yards from them. Okay? Now, when the ball's coming down, this is where it gets a little bit tricky, and as umpires you all need to be aware that you need to be not watching the ball while it's in flight. Can't really hurt anyone up there, maybe a low-flying bird, but that's irrelevant to the actual hockey pitch. So once the ball goes up, you need to be judging where it's going to land. So look ahead, all right, because when it's coming down, that's what we need to be worrying about. When it's coming down, a couple of really simple ways to think about this. If there are players together, it automatically goes to the defense. Okay? If there is a singular player, no matter whether they are attack or defense, that person has a right to the ball. Okay? Now, when we talk about a singular player, we're talking about a player who doesn't have anyone within playing distance or 5 yards generally. All right, so when the ball comes down, that person has the right to the space and everyone has to stay away until they've controlled the ball down. Once that ball is controlled down, then the other players can engage. All right, if that player does have the space and someone runs in, so if the attacker has the space and the defender runs in, the free hit goes to the attack. If a defender has space and the attacker runs in, then the free hit goes to the defense. Okay, so general rules of thumb here, try not to overthink it. When the ball goes up, we need to make sure that the players are safe and that there is generally a 5 yard meter ruling on that. And then on the way back down, if there are players together, it automatically goes to the defense. And if there aren't players together, it's whoever had the space first that gets the free hit. Okay, now I can understand that sometimes it can be really hard to judge these in a really short time frame, and players can sometimes become frustrated, especially when a player doesn't see that someone else is nearby and they think that they have the right. So please, players also understand that an umpire is trying to judge that based on the angles that they have. Now, umpires, it's really important to have a pre-match discussion with your colleague about how you're going to manage overheads, okay? So have a chat with them before the game about who's going to be watching what angles and how you're going to manage that together. Remember that, if it's coming out of your end and landing, quite a fair way down the field, that your colleague might have a really good angle on that. So work together. That's what you're there for, as well as, creating a spectacle of hockey. So general rules of thumb, all right, umpires, have a chat before the game about how you're going to manage it. Now, clarification of the rule. When the ball goes up, players need to be safe, needs to be about 5 yards away. When the ball comes down, okay, the person who's in the space needs to be able to control that down before other players engage. If there is a group of players, it automatically goes to the defense. And if a player is in space and someone else runs in, it goes to the player who was in space, whether they are attack or defense. Make sure you're looking ahead. Make sure you're judging who had that space before the ball gets there, because then that way we're going to minimize the frustration of the players and we're going to be able to create some really great flow, which is what we're trying to do. All right. I hope this clarified a little bit about that, or I hope it actually clarified a lot. If you have any more questions, or if there is anything else that you want to know about this, please don't hesitate to ask, and we'll be back shortly with some more rule interpretations for you.